Hi, so what you have in front of you are about 10 different yo-yos, and what I was trying to do was really try to find a very basic beginner yo-yo that just goes up and down, and I was looking for something that was kind of either for stress relief or, just for nostalgic purposes, just playing around with a yo-yo. Sometimes it's good for brainstorming, or if you're just pacing around, having that in your hand. So that was kind of my main purpose of just getting a yo-yo. Now, when I popped onto Amazon.com, I was kind of surprised of just the different types of yo-yos and the range of yo-yos there were. There were beginner ones for kids, beginner ones for actually learning kind of like to be pro. Then there were like pro style, intermediate, there were aluminum yo-yos, there were plastic yo-yos, there were yo-yos that were called like Starburst. There were yo-yos that were, basically 1A, 2A, 3A. So it was really very confusing, and really what I wanted was kind of like a very high quality beginner yo-yo. So let me go ahead and walk you through, some of the information that I found just by buying a bunch of yo-yos. Half of these I'm just going to have to return, but since I have them now, I wanted to make this video and explain to you, what's good, what's bad, and if you're like me, just looking for a basic yo-yo just to move up and down. I'm not even going to be learning skills like rock the baby or walk the dog. I really just wanted to move up and down in my finger. And it turns out that it is not as simple or as basic as just buying a beginner yo-yo. So let me go through everything that I've learned, and I'll share with you in this video. So let's start off with this Duncan butterfly. So this Duncan butterfly is probably the ones that you remember from your childhood. This is a very basic yo-yo, and it is basically for kids. And I would say as an adult, what you realize about this yo-yo is that it's kind of flimsy and crappy. And what I mean by that is that it just doesn't have a mechanism that makes it work as well as some of these more, I want to say, modern and professional type of, techie type, better manufactured yo-yos. So for example, this is actually too light as an adult. So if you're getting for kids, this might be a very good beginner yo-yo still. This might be just what it was for you as a child, what it will be for your own child. It's nice and light. The thing I don't like about this is that the width of this makes it such that the string can get double caught and the width just kind of gets stuck in the middle and the whole yo-yo just stops working. So I will demonstrate some of the problems I've had with this. But you could see this is a very basic beginner yo-yo. It's light. It's about sometimes $5 to $8. I did get this from Amazon. It does have the flares, but one thing that is bad about this is that when you're catching it with your hand, because these are not rounded edges, I mean, it's kind of rounded, but it's not as rounded as these more modern ones. So when you're playing around with it for a very long time, it actually kind of hurts, hitting your palm all the time, which is kind of odd because it's not something you remember as a kid that it hurts your palm, but as an adult you notice that type of thing. The other thing is that while it's nice that it's flared out and it actually catches the string, I did mention it does get stuck. It does have a nice feel to it. As you could see, your middle finger does get, lots of space in the middle here. So this is a very good choice, but it is actually not the best beginner yo-yo. There are other yo-yos. This yo-yo, for example, actually lights up, so I thought it might be fun to get a yo-yo that actually lights up, except that this one does not operate as well because as a beginner, when you're fumbling around with it, it doesn't consistently go in the middle because it doesn't have that same flare as in these new, more modern yo-yos. So you could see how wide these all of these modern ones have like butterfly. It has the butterfly flare outs, especially this is actually an intermediate yo-yo, you could see, compared to this particular one, which is just your very classical. So, and these things are not cheap. This was $8, but this here was a good $16 to $18, and it just wasn't worth it. I'll end up returning this one. This one is actually by YoMega. So the three brands I have here is actually Duncan. That's kind of your classical brand. Then there is one by YoYo Factory. A lot of these are from YoYo Factory. That particular one is from Magic Yo-Yo. This is Duncan, this is YoMega. So some of these brands are very popular on Amazon, but I find that the real brands that you want to buy are not actually available on Amazon, and you have to go direct either on eBay or right on their websites to actually get it. So just resuming my review here of the best beginner yo-yo. This particular one I'm going to return because it doesn't have the flare. It just doesn't work as consistently without those flare outs like this. Now the best beginner yo-yo here is actually one by YoYo Factory. So I got this from yoyofactory.com, and what you'll find is there are responsive yo-yos and there are unresponsive yo-yos. The unresponsive yo-yos are actually the yo-yos for the pros. Now the responsive yo-yos are actually beginner yo-yos that when you tug on it, it actually has a better feel to it. It is, as the word says, it's responsive in the sense that you could feel the tension. Whereas the unresponsive ones, there is actually there's no feedback to your motion because the bearings itself just spin. And so when you tug on it, there is no feedback. Whereas these particular beginner ones, especially this particular one, this one is actually the best. You could feel every tug and every tension, which gives you a lot more control when the yo-yo goes up and down. So this was actually the easiest to control and operate, and I love this one. I got this as a kit, and I'll show you the kit later on. But this particular one I got for, it's about $12–15 a piece right on the website. But I bought this in a kit, and so it came with 3 of them for about $30–35. So you could see what's nice about this is that it has like super rounded edges. So when it's coming and it's kind of hitting your palm, it's nice and soft, and it just has a very natural feel to it. Your finger just rolls into the middle. This gap is nice and wide so that the string doesn't get stuck, and it has a good weight to it. So the weight itself gives it some acceleration, which gives the momentum a little bit of a better boost than this very lightweight. This lightweight beginner one is kind of feels a little bit flimsy. This feels solid, and if it hits the ground, this is not just gonna break. So that's the great part about this. Now this beginner yo-yo is considered responsive. So as a beginner, you wanna get the most responsive type yo-yo you could find. And this particular yo-yo, as a responsive yo-yo, is something called a starburst. So there are kind of notches on the side here that when you tug on the string, it gets caught a little bit, and so it gives it like more tension, and which is why you could feel it. Now, because this is one of those very responsive yo-yos, it is kind of noisy in the sense that you could hear like the notches getting hit and the spin, but it feels great. This thing just feels like you have very good control over your motion when you're tugging on the string. So this is my favorite one as a beginner. Now moving on, the other set that it comes with is this intermediate yo-yo here. Now this is also a responsive yo-yo, but it's not as responsive as that one. And again, what I mean by responsive is that when your fingers tug on it, it gets some feedback. You feel some sort of action and reaction from your motion versus a more advanced pro style one where you really don't get much feedback. So this particular one you could see is in similar style, and this also feels good in the sense that it has that, you're gonna put the string right on your yo-yo middle finger here, and so your finger's gonna rest very well. except that this has less response because this is an intermediate yo-yo that's trying to get you to a next skill level of a pro, so you could use the pro style yo-yos. So it's less responsive, and it tries to give you an incremental stepwise skill level by having it less responsive. This particular one is called the YoYo Factory Arrow, and it does have very good bearings. So you could see here that this has, you know, those particular bearings, and it actually comes with lubricant where you could, you know, lubricate those bearings. So I will show you the kit later on after I go through all these yo-yos. This one I also like. It's a little bit less responsive, but I like it once in a while because it is different in that way. Trying to just, probably a bad idea for me to do this with the string. Don't do it with the string. Just a quick tip, one thing you do want to remember is when you are creating the finger loop here, there is a particular way you have to do it. So to make it adjustable, you tie a loop like that, and you put this loop around that particular loop. And it's hard to do on camera. And then you put your middle finger here and you pull it, and that makes it adjustable. So for some of the heavier yo-yos, this is gonna tighten. That's gonna tighten more and more, and it's gonna you know, squeeze the blood out of your fingers. But it also gives more control, and your yo-yo won't just slip it out of your hand. So that's the good thing about using that method, and they do recommend that method in terms of you know, how pros actually control their yo-yo. Now the third one, this is a pro yo-yo. It also comes in a kit. Out of the three different yo-yos that come in a kit is the beginner yo-yo, the intermediate, and the pro. So this is all from YoYo Factory. And you could see this particular one is a non-responsive. So once I release it and I throw it against the floor, for example, it doesn't come back. It just spins. So this is the unresponsive yo-yos. The bearing itself inside is the same type of bearings that you have there, but there is no responsiveness to it, and it just keeps on spinning. The yo-yo just keeps on spinning and basically what they call sleep. So this is a pro style type yo-yo. The rest of these are also a pro style type yo-yo. So the pro style type yo-yos are all aluminum. And so when I first bought these, I completely bought basically the aluminum ones, thinking, hey, you know, these look amazing. They have varied designs, and they look pretty cool, basically. Now, it's good to buy these as gifts if the kids or people you're buying it for are thinking about using pro tricks for them. And pro tricks are, you know, amazing looking. You could search for a bunch of pro tricks on the YouTube, but you know, I don't think I'll ever reach that level. So these pro style ones are, once again, they're flared out. This particular one is from Magic Yo-Yo, and it does have a very nice container to it with a bunch of different, like 5 different spare strings, and also like a glove and you know, a carrying case, all in one. And because it does have a very nice box, it does make a great gift. So I wanted to show you the box here. You know, these Duncan ones with the, you know, plastic type of packaging, they kind of look cheap. This actually looks very good as far as if you're giving a gift to somebody. This Duncan one is the same style. This is called Roadrunner. And you could see inside right there's a bearing. Now all of these you could remove, you know, just by twisting them, and you could do maintenance on them with the bearings, removing the bearings, changing the bearings out. So that's literally how serious these yo-yos have gotten since you were a kid. You know, so this particular one, I'm not even going to open because this is intermediate. I tried this out with the intermediate one. It's not the greatest. This is by Omega. This is by Duncan. Judging by how the Duncan ones are, I decided, or I'm not even going to open this one. I'm just going to return it. This particular one's going to be called a Pulse, but it's called intermediate. So I would say that if you are buying it for a kid or a very, very beginner, don't think that you could just have these yo-yos returned to you. It really doesn't. When you do it with your fingers, it will take a couple of hours for you to get used to having the yo-yo return to your finger. This particular one is the packaging for the Duncan, for the normal Duncan one, which is the Duncan Butterfly. So that's how this packaging comes in. I just want to show you the packaging in case you wanted to basically give it away as a gift. The Duncan one, the advanced one, this one was 25 bucks. So once again, actually it was a little bit more than that. It was like $28, $29. So these are serious yo-yos. And even these particular ones, they all are in the range of, you know, $16 to $18, whereas those particular ones, these beginner ones, are like $8. So just keep that in mind. If you want to get a serious beginner yo-yo, they do start at 16 bucks or so. Now, just showing you the kit here. Now the kit, this is by YoYo Factory, and it does come with a cardboard carrying case. It fits 6 yo-yos in it, and the particular one that it came with is basically this beginner yo-yo, this intermediate yo-yo, and this pro style yo-yo. And so you'll see it has lubricant, comes with a lubricant, comes with a thing to actually remove and change out the bearing, more lubricant, and it comes with strings, and you'll see an extra bearing in there for this arrow. This one's called a replay, the YoYo Factory replay. That one is the YoYo Factory arrow, and this one is the YoYo Factory SpinStar. So I will have all of this information and links in the description area of this video. I think that's all I want to mention. I will show you just myself trying to get these yo-yos working right now. But I hope this video helped. I know I was rambling a lot, but I just wanted to get this information out for anyone that was actually interested, because it was a lot more complicated than I initially thought. Anyways, I hope this helped. Please subscribe to this channel and support it by buying through the links, and thank you so much for watching. Okay, so the first demo is going to be with my favorite one, which is the YoYo Factory SpinStar. And I'm first going to create a loop for my finger. So I'm going to loop the cord here, and I'm going to put this loop around the loop like this. And once I have that, I am going to put my finger through that loop, and now it tightens around my finger. And I am going to hold it like this with the line or cord over my finger, like that. And you will hear this being a little bit noisy. So this has great control, even though I am losing control here. So this has a very good feel. The finger just fits right in the middle, and it is just great control, very good control, and very responsive feel to it. So I could even have my hand like that, and it just comes back up easily. It is a little bit noisy because it's the starburst type of response mechanism, meaning there's notches that gives it the tension. Even if I lose control, I just pull up a little bit and I regain control. So I've lost control, now I can regain control. So this is what I love about this particular one. It's very good for beginners for that reason. You can see I'm not all that coordinated, and it still feels pretty good in my hands. Once again, you can see I'm screwing up so much, yet at the same time, I'm able to recover. You can't do that with the other beginner ones. So that's a good little demo there. Just nice and easy, nice and easy. So there you go, that is the SpinStar. Now let me contrast this with the Duncan one, which is too light. Once again, this particular one just has a very good feel and weight to it. You know, a very solid weight that gives it its momentum also. So here's the Duncan. Gonna do the loop. Now this Duncan one, as I mentioned before, is a little bit lighter. Now the reason why I'm doing this video is because the yo-yos themselves are pretty expensive. They are, you know, roughly around 20 bucks when you actually think about it. So you really do want to do your research and get the right one, unlike me, which I'm getting a bunch. I'm just going to have to return it. So this one is a little bit lighter. It takes a little bit getting used to, and it's a little bit less responsive in the sense that it's a little bit harder to pull up. So you can see it's a lot quieter. Once you lose control over it, it's harder to gain control again. But it still functions fairly decently. You could see what I mean here is that because of the width of this, once the cord gets tangled, it just kind of gets stuck. As you could see, it's not bad, you know, for a $8, whoops, just slipped out of my hand. But for an $8 one, it's not all that bad. Now this here is the intermediate one. So this is from the YoYo Factory, which is the YoYo Factory Arrow. And it has that nice wide middle. It is also basically a butterfly shape, but it also has a decent weight to it. You know, a lot of these more pro ones, they don't feel like a toy. They actually feel like a, you know, professional type yo-yo. So this one is a little bit less responsive, but it also, you know, works fairly decently because you could see once I get a little bit used to it. And this one, this particular one, you have to generate more speed. So it's hard for me to, let me try to do that on camera when I generate more speed. So let me try that again. Oh, I see. So what do you, because from my previous demo, I did not tighten it as I should have. It was actually a little bit loose. So that was the main problem there. That was the main problem, that I had it loose. So, but that's really, just wanted to conclude my demo here and just show you all three of these once again. So there you have it. That was the SpinStar, this is the Duncan Butterfly, and this is the YoYo Factory Arrow. And I will have all of these links in the description area of this video, so definitely check those out, and you know, have a great day.